62.
Oh, 62.
You'll be 62.
Oh. Okay. Oh, no. One's been my sandwiches. Oh, not that old. I want Diane. I'm on.
Hey everybody, I think we're live.
No, I want Diane orange. I got my nieces still.
Some of them got their sound off.
They're going like they try it all time.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Saturday Night Live Life Recovery, where we get the opportunity to work on our stuff. Anybody here have any stuff? Well, maybe I should say, is there anybody here that doesn't have
I
stuff?
don't like stuff.
Do I?
I don't like stuff.
You don't like stuff?
Yeah, you can't take it with you anyway, so.
Yes, but we're talking about resolving stuff.
Oh, that kind of
You know, you have stuff you need to resolve. You don't have to answer that.
stuff. Yeah.
Because I already know the answer.
I don't know anybody who doesn't.
Right. It's my point. And welcome to you out there in internet land. We're glad you're here. And our desire is to come together and help each other in this room, because nobody's perfect. All of us have stuff, and our stuff is messy, just like your stuff is messy. And the idea is to go from a more chaotic lifestyle to a less chaotic lifestyle, and go from more disorderly to more orderly, and that's the plan. So anyway, tonight we're still on step 6, and our topic is step 6 and removing deeper hurts out of Jonah 4 through 8. Step 6 is we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. And that can sound like a tall order, but God wants to do that because actually He's the only one that can. In fact, last week, if you remember, we talked about remove instead of improve. Anybody remember that one? Yes, and the idea is because we can't fix ourselves. We can maybe do a little bit of improvement around the edges, but the fact of it is we need His grace, His mercy, and His help to remove those defects. So, and tonight we're going to be talking about some of the causes of these defects, and that's these deeper wounds, these deeper hurts, and we're going to be talking about that. Let's see. Willie's going to be doing the step tonight and covering the topic, and then Lori is going to be doing the step reflections and the questions. And so it'll be interesting to see how all this works out. Do you agree?
Yes.
I was harassing Lori there a little bit. So, all right, let's start off with the first question. What does removing deeper hurts mean? And by the way, I do have a worksheet, and I think is it only a one-page one? Yeah, it is only a one-page one tonight. So, yes, sir.
It means allowing God to heal the emotional, relational, and spiritual wounds beneath
Yes.
our unhealthy behaviors and character defects.
Good, good. Got any thoughts about that?
Well, yes.
Are you interested in sharing that?
Most of us, the unhealthy behaviors we have and defects of character are just a result of something under the surface. There's some deeper things going on there, and most counselors and psychologists or psychiatrists or whoever know that, so they try to go into the deep parts of our emotional makeup, I guess.
Does all what you said there, does that remind you of a quote that we talked about last week?
Yes, but I don't remember how it goes.
It's Carl Jung's quote. It's the psychological rule. He says that when an inner situation is not made conscious, which is what you're talking about there, those deeper wounds, it happens outside as fate. So if we don't resolve them, what that means is it's kind of like a weed seed that's planted inside of you, and it's going to come out. It's going to happen. It's going to force things to happen, and either we address it, or it comes out and says, "Here I am. I'm here to mess up your day."
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm talking about? And it goes on to say, and that's to say, when the individual remains undivided, which means that you don't unify yourself, you don't resolve the conflicts, because when we have those wounds or those conflicts, we divide ourselves. Okay, we segment. Another word is we segment ourselves, and does not become conscious of his or her inner opposites. The world must perforce, like it or not, act out the conflict. And we're talking about the internal conflict or the hurts. And Willie and I were talking about the topic here today, and Jonah, and how he had a inner conflict, right? And the inner, even though he had some good stuff in him, and he was actually called by God, and he was a prophet of God, but he also had this other stuff that was pushing him around. Anybody ever know anybody that is affected that way?
Yeah.
Don't all point at Willie. So, and so what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve our awareness of what's going on inside of us, and God has given us even stories and examples of people that had the same type of stuff most of us have. And if we don't have it, we know somebody that does. Would you agree with that statement?
Yes.
Okay, so don't point at you, point at her. Is that what you're trying to say? I'm not going to get in the middle of that fight.
I don't blame you.
Okay. So, many of our struggles are not the root problem. This is right after the definition that was read. So, many of our struggles are not the root problem. They are symptoms of a deeper pain, which is basically another way of saying what Carl Jung was talking about, right? And then it goes on down and gives some examples. And like anger. Anger may come from being hurt or rejected. Does that sound like a possibility in your life, or you know somebody that is? Control may come from fear or insecurity. How does control? Well, that means you're trying to control things so that you're able to handle your life, so you don't have to be afraid, or you're so insecure you're trying to do things to gain that security. And according to Abraham Maslow, security is one of the number one human needs. So trying to feel secure in one aspect or another. And another one is being loved and accepted. And so we'll get to that here in a minute. The third one here is people pleasing. Okay, people pleasing could be one of these deeper wounds, and that may come from a need of you're looking for approval. What do you think? Bitterness may come from unresolved wounds. Somebody hurt you and you just buried it and thought about it. Imagine what you'd do if you ever had a chance. And all that is internal poison that you keep drinking. Is that not true? Bitterness. Addiction. Addictive behavior may come from trying to numb emotional pain. And it's.
Or boredom and fitting in.
Excuse me?
I said, or boredom and fitting in.
Yeah. And pride may come from hidden shame. Pride. So in recovery, we often discover that our defects of character are like fruits of a tree. Now, can you imagine that? Can you visualize that? While deeper hurts are the root beneath the surface. Our behaviors are like the fruit. Our problems are like our roots. So, we can knock all the fruit and leaves and limbs off the tree, but the problem is still at the root. Yeah. Right? That's what that's trying to say. I got good beside this, a simple definition, which is very similar to one that was read earlier. Removing deeper hurts means allowing God to heal the wounds, fears, resentments, and fear and false beliefs. Another word for false beliefs would be what?
Lies.
Lies. Very good. Very good. We have a really bad habit of not just lying to others, but lying to ourselves. And how does that work out for us?
Well,
and unhealthy attitudes and actions. In Jonah 4, God didn't simply tell Jonah to stop being angry. I thought this was really good, and that's the reason why I made a note to the side here. Really good. He didn't tell him to stop being angry. He helped Jonah see what was beneath his anger. And we'll talk about the story and stuff like that later when we get into it. But he was trying to help him see what was going on. And God was dealing with Jonah's heart, not just his behavior. What do you think about that statement? Any comments? And see, and that's the reason why I say here on Saturday Night Live, when we're talking about recovery, we're not talking about just a performance being substance free, okay? Just being dry or free from the substance or behavior. because you can do that and not have recovery. Because recovery is inside, it's the heart, it's a change on the inside. And when you change on the inside, that will affect your behavior and what you do and who you do it with. Would you agree with that? Yes, sir.
And that's the only way it'll last.
You're absolutely right. Thank you for that. It's true. Let's go ahead and jump on down and to how does step 6 and removing deeper hurts connect? Well, this is how it connects. Step 6, I'm going to read step 6 again. It says, we're entirely ready to have God remove our defects of character. This connection is very important, and it connects well with Jonah 4:4-8, because the story reveals that Jonah's outward anger was rooted in a deeper, unresolved hurt and attitude within his heart. Yeah, you've ever known anybody that lived for revenge? Yeah, and
John Wick.
I don't even know.
It's a movie.
Oh, okay. All right. I missed it.
Actually, a good movie.
Okay. All right. But that bitterness can take you drive you into some very serious, unhealthy behaviors. Would you agree with that? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree with that. But interestingly, the way God reached Jonah's heart was, first of all, by showing him mercy,
Right.
and then he had to show him there was something wrong in his heart.
Right.
So he took that mercy away, which we'll read about. But that made Jonah angry again. The anger came up again because it was deep. And God said, "Is it right for you to be angry?"
Right.
And that made him really stop and think
That's good.
that he did not have the right to be angry.
And when we feel better, when we feel better than somebody else, or that we're holier than somebody else, or somebody else is all bad and because I'm all good. Well, neither one of those statements is correct. Nobody is all bad, and none of us is all good. But of course, I understand that Jonah was raised on that anger, from early in life, and that's deep seated. So it was deep in him. But yes, God did show him mercy, because he saved his life when he was thrown overboard, right? But God also gave him deliverance of being in the fish when he finally said, "Okay, I'll go." So the fish vomited him up on the bank that he was supposed to go to instead of in the direction he was heading, which was in the opposite direction. So, God works with us even when we're wrong. That's that mercy. And then we'll talk about the rest of it here in a little bit. So anyway, step 6 connects together because it's only God that can deliver us from these defects of character. But as we said last week, and we'll say it again this week, that will only happen when we decide, like Jonah needed to decide, and the end of the story never got told. You know, it just got cut off. You know, he was sitting up there watching the Ninevites. They were saved, and Jonah was mad. You know, and that was basically the end of the story. Now, does that mean Jonah didn't have another chance? No, you know, God gives us a lot of chances, you know, and I have to say that, you know, through this process that God was taking Jonah through, and he takes us through, right? Just think about all the things that God has led you through to help you to see the truth and change your heart. What do you think about that? And if we have time at the end of our lesson, I want to do a little exercise that I feel like maybe the Holy Spirit gave me. So we'll see what happens if we have time. So, any comments or questions before we read the steps? I'm assuming we'll be reading the steps.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody.
I forgot to indicate it, so I'll do it.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Willie.
Hey, Willie.
The 12 steps. Step 1, we admitted that we were powerless over our problems and that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Step 3, we made a decision to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. Step 4, we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Step 5, we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact natures of our wrong. Step 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. Step 7, we humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. Step 8, we made a list of all persons that we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Step 9, we made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, we continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admit it. Step 11, we sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God and praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. Step 12, we had a spiritual awakening. Step 12, having a spiritual awakening of these as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and practice these principles in all our fare. And back to step 6, where we're at tonight, we were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character.
Thank you, Willie.
Oh, Will.
Thank you.
Now, Willie's going to do our teaching, step 6.
It's going to be
on our
fun.
topic.
It's going to be fun.
Going to be fun. All right.
It's going to be fun. Removing deeper hurts. Bible reading is out of Jonah 4:4-8. We were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. When we are upset, we often depend on our addiction to make us feel better.
So, why do you think that is?
Because we don't want to feel the pain, and so we're going to look for any way to numb it and avoid it. And when you're upset, all you want to do is get away from it. So you're going to look for the quickest and easiest way out.
Okay, go ahead. You know, you skipped right through my regular first question.
All right, let's go back to it.
I noticed that. I was gonna stop you. He didn't give you that opportunity to nail him.
I'm done on the couch for tonight, so let's don't make that worse.
What, the first question
Okay,
is,
go ahead.
what does a healthier future look like to you?
A healthier future look like for me.
Yeah, for you.
Being able to look people in the eye and acknowledge the fact that, hey, if I can help you, I'm going to, without anything in return coming back, and not having to, or are they looking down on me because I used to do this? Letting God show through me, through where I come from and what I have become. That's what
Good. And why did you pick or select this topic tonight?
Yeah.
Chris wants to know.
basically describes me. Removing deeper hurts is a struggle because a lot of this I have done. I have used my anger to get my way, to force my way. I have done it all through this in the past. And this one just hits me. I like it.
Well, you remember the first time you did it?
Gee, it was rough the first time I did it because it was personal to me.
Yeah.
Now it gets a little easier each time, but I still,
But why does it get easier?
because I'm applying it. What I'm learning in it, I'm applying it to me. It's soaking in. It's getting to the root. Let's go that way. All right, this microphone's
Lori,
bugging.
you have any other questions?
No,
Oh,
you can proceed.
I'm gonna put her on the couch
You can
tonight.
ask him if he's gonna share the couch. No, you can proceed.
I don't understand that. Go ahead.
Story. As we get rid of our addictions, we may face the deeper character defects that God wants to heal.
What do you think the statement means?
It is okay. We get rid of the easy. Okay, we get rid of the addiction. We get rid of the cover up. Now we're getting to you're going to get to the main. You're getting closer to the main problem.
Good.
What caused you to lead to the addiction?
Okay.
And with it, if you got all this stuff in the way, you're not going to get to that problem. So that's what I think that's meaning.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Go ahead.
Our addictions functions as a place of shelter,
What does that mean? Shelter?
a safe place. It hides, helps you get
So
away from
I don't
everything.
understand. Help me understand what it means our addiction functions as a place of a shelter.
Well, your addiction. When you go to your addiction, that's that's where you're wrapped up in, and nothing else matters. So it's like your house. You go into your house, you're safe from the world. Your addiction just shelters you in that same area. Oh, hey, that's here. That don't matter because I'm doing what I want to do here.
Anybody have any comments? Robert?
It becomes an automatic reaction to whatever's the underlying problem. If we're hurt, if we feel like we've been wronged by someone, then we want to escape or we want to feel better. So we automatically go to our addiction until we learn that there's something underneath that. It's not the addiction it is a problem and it has to stop, but that's not the only thing. there's stuff under there that also has to be healed or removed
Yeah.
so
Good,
that it
good.
doesn't force us into the same behavior.
Good. So you you kind of took it in a little bit different area, which is nothing wrong with that. But you know, Willie was talking about it was a safe place, a place of comfort. It was like your house, so it was your covering, and you took it into a behavior, which is true, that it was a form of almost a habit or a reaction to situations that would come our way, and which we turn to these things that would either protect us or comfort us. And that's what this shelter is about. Is that what you're trying to tell me, Willie?
Yeah. Something like that. Just in fewer words.
So was that a slam on me?
No,
Oh.
no, never.
Just check. All right, go ahead.
But when the shelter is removed,
Wait a
deeper.
minute. Wait a minute. Are we starting that sentence over again? Because I'm trying to find it.
I can.
Let's do that again.
Our addictions functions as a safe place of shelter from our pain.
Okay.
But
Because
when
I didn't let you get through
our
the pain.
yeah.
So
Okay. But when the shelter is removed, deeper hurts may surface, exposing
what does that mean? Exposing.
means it's there. It's vulnerable. It's in the open.
What's in the open?
Deeper hurt, deeper anger.
So
You don't have the shelter to protect you, so you're out there vulnerable.
I just had a thought. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
The thought.
Yeah.
So when this deeper anger may surface, so that it means it may not surface. If it's not surfaced, does that mean that other people can't see it?
No, it does not.
What does it mean?
Hold on. Repeat your question again. Maybe I
Does
misunderstood.
it mean, no, you were on the right way, but what does it mean that other people can't see it? Even though you can't see it, does that mean other people
Other
can't see it?
people can see it before you do.
Oh.
Uh,
So
they can see things you don't.
so this
because-
deep anger could actually expose that anger to ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay. And the next part of the sentence is, and it can expose our character flaws. Not only other people can see them, but maybe we could start seeing them ourselves. You ever had a things that were exposed that you couldn't see before?
Yes,
Character flaws or
Yes.
angers or
many a times.
oh, okay. Go ahead.
Has removed deeper angers and may surface, exposing deeper character flaws that need healing. Jonah had a glaring defect of character. He could.
Wait. What does that mean? That Jonah had
Had a
this
glaring
character defect.
Means that everybody saw it but him.
What do you think about that?
He had a problem.
Okay. Anybody
I
have
don't
any
know what-
thoughts about that? That he had a character defect that was glaring, that everybody could see it, but he couldn't see it. What do you think about that? Lori, you look like you have thought.
It happens.
It happens. Go ahead.
I remember people telling me that I had this defect, but I wouldn't believe them. that's how bad it can get, is that it's staring you right in the face and people point it out to you and you still can't see it because I didn't want to see it. You know, I probably knew it was true, but I didn't want to admit it.
Good statement.
Therefore,
Good say.
it took me a long time to come to grips with that fact.
Mm. Have you ever thought?
What's that?
Have you ever thought? You know,
Ever cried?
huh?
Have I ever cried?
No, I haven't got it out yet. Have you ever thought about that? You know, that people can see our defects long before we will see them ourselves, and then when we finally figure out that people are seeing what I didn't see, then you think, you know, you're a little embarrassed because you hadn't seen it before. You know what I'm talking about? And
Definitely.
then, you know, my question always was, why didn't I see this? And so my next question is, why do you think I'm belaboring this point so much?
So that it sinks in.
You like to see us squirm.
Well, I just,
Because that's a vital point to this message.
it is. So, at least I think so. Yeah. And I want the Holy Spirit to be able to talk to all of us, that we're able to hear it. And if we can hear it, then hopefully we can come to the place that we can allow Him to help us. Yes, sir.
And I think it's so common in recovery when people, if they stop the addictive behavior, they think they're healed. But there's so much more to it than that. We have to go deep. God knows that. And that's where I don't think his concern is as much the surface stuff as what the deeper stuff is. He wants us to get in there and fix the underlying problem.
And the reason why is because
Yeah,
why does He want us to get under and fix the underlying stuff?
because he loves us.
That's it. And it's not about Him, it's about us. Because it makes our life better. More full, more free, more peace, more purpose, more joy. And that's what He wants for us. And all that would actually improve our relationship, not only with ourselves, but with others and with Him. Any thoughts, Willie?
No, I'm good right now.
Okay. Okay.
Jonah couldn't forgive and have compassion for the people of Nineveh, who he hated. When God decided to destroy them, Jonah threw a temper tantrum.
What does that mean?
Jonah hated Nineveh so bad that because they were out doing everything sinful, whatever they were doing.
No, actually, they were, but the information I have is that they were their enemies and they were always attacking them, and so they were their, what you might call, mortal enemies. And it's kind of like, yeah, kind of like those, you know, they were people of no good, and so that's the reason why it says here that he hated them, you know, because as far as he was concerned, they had no redeeming factors, nor should they be redeemed. And then that's the reason why he got mad at God, because God said, go and preach to them and tell them that if they don't repent, that they're going to be destroyed. And he says, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that, because I don't want them to be saved. I don't want them to be redeemed. I want them to be destroyed. Go get them, God, type thing. So, and that's the reason why he took off towards Spain. If I remember the story correctly, it doesn't say Spain, but that's basically that direction. And God turned him around with a big giant fish, and a big storm. So that's, and so he hated them, and he did not have any compassion for them. So, anybody have any comments on that? Go ahead.
In Jonah 4:4-8, the Lord replied, is it right for you to be angry about this?
What is that about? What is to be angry about? What was we've already talked about, but what was Jonah really angry about?
He was angry that God spared Nineveh, that he saved them. That's what he was angry about.
First, he was angry about them just the way they were, and then he was angry at God because God was trying to have mercy, show his mercy on them, just like he showed to Jonah. But Jonah said, they're not worthy of the mercy. I want them dead. In other words, paraphrase.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Then Jonah went out to the east side of the city, and the Lord God arranged for a leafy plant to grow there. And soon it spread its broad leaves over Jonah's head, shading him from the sun.
So what do you know what was going on here?
Yeah, he was God was showing compassion to
Good
Jonah.
word. God was showing Jonah compassion. Even though he went up on the hill, hoping that God would destroy him.
Right.
He wanted to watch the show, and it was hot, it was uncomfortable, and God provided some shade for him through his compassion. Okay, go ahead.
Shading him from the sun. The next morning, the plant withered away, and as the sun grew hot, God arranged for a scorching east wind to blow on Jonah.
So, what's going on there?
Well, now he's showing him what it's like not to have the shade of the plant, the shelter.
Okay. And
In other words,
I showed you compassion. Had an illustration of compassion. This is what Robert was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I gave an illustration of compassion, and now we'll withdraw that shelter, okay, and let you deal with a hot sun and a dry wind, and of course it feels harder, right? It feels worse, and so that's where we're at, and then we'll let you go ahead and finish the rest of the illustration. Right.
the sun beat down on his head until he grew faint and wished to die.
So you don't have to answer this, but how many of us have ever been in such a difficult spot that we thought about it'd be better to be dead? And that's what I think is kind of known as the bottom. And so we've, when we get to that spot, it's scary. I remember my time; it was scary, but it also helped you to help me to refocus. Does that make sense? And so here we are, a prophet of God, in that situation because, well, he wasn't getting his way, but the elements were difficult. It was a challenge. He was mad, and things weren't going our way. And isn't that really when the situations that we put ourselves in, right? That we do that to ourselves. God lets us have that opportunity to refocus. And that's his mercy, in my opinion. That's what Robert was talking about earlier. Right, Robert?
Yeah. And also, if we look at it, at the situation that we're like if Jonah would have, in fact, he even said, I think he said, God asked him again, are you right to be mad about the plant withering and dying? And Jonah said, yeah, to the point where I want to die.
Yes.
So if he would have just stopped and thought something, I'm mad about this plant, but it's not really the problem. The problem is my hatred of the people. And God is trying to teach me that.
Well, and it's not only that, it's not only the hatred of the people, but it's the hatred of the plant, it's the hatred of the people, it's the hatred of God. It's almost like I hate you, God, for doing what you're doing because you're disagreeing with me.
Yeah.
Right? So it's his heart that needed to be addressed. And hopefully he's starting to see that because God asked him a couple questions. Do you have a right to be angry about this? Of course he said he did, but just because that's what he said, maybe he was starting to see things just a little bit different.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Willie.
God did this to show Jonah that the real problem wasn't the loss of the shelter. Hatred was the real problem. The removal of the the removal of the sheltering addiction may expose deeper problems. This
Wait. What do you think that means there? Now we've said it multiple times, and they just said it again. But I just wanted to see if we could bring it out again and see if we can get it a little clearer.
if we take away the outer, if once the symptoms are removed, then we can get rid of the virus. Let's go that way with it.
Mhm.
But you got to get rid of the symptoms before you can.
Well, you have to first know that you got a problem.
Right.
Okay. Well, see, Jonah didn't know he had a problem yet.
Yeah.
And so we have to recognize it. And what's the problem? Well, what's the problem is these people won't die. Okay. No, that's not the problem, Jonah. Well, this plant died, so that's the problem. What? No, that's not the problem, Jonah. No. You know, well, it's the wind that's blowing. That's the problem. You know, curse that wind, right? No, that's not the real problem, Jonah. Oh, I know. It's the sun. It's the sun, right? And so, you know, when we're in the midst of our own stuff and we're going through it and we're finally starting to weed it out and we're starting to look at our life, our choices, our behaviors, what's going on. We finally, I was talking to a woman yesterday, and she used to come to this meeting. In fact, she said she'd be here tonight. She's not here, so. And she was doing pretty good in her life. She was working on getting her life organized. That she had some structure. She was living in a recovery situation, and life was going better. And she was talking about that, and she was trying to get back into that situation again. I said, that's real good, because you were doing really good when you were doing that. She said, yes. I said, but then something happened. She said, yes. I said, what was it that happened? I could see it in her eyes that she knew, but I said, you made some choices that took you out of that situation. You got involved with some people that took you out of that situation. And then your life started spiraling. And every time I don't mean this to be harsh, but I usually only get to see her after she gets out of jail. And she knows that I love her and I care about her. And I want the best for her. But, as I told her, I said, you have to make healthy choices. And she said, I know that. Does that make sense what I just said? And so when you're in a chaotic state, it's hard. I know it's hard, but that's really a golden opportunity to take a really deep look at yourself and your stuff. And it's really a good time to make some big changes and see some pretty good results pretty rapidly. But don't be fooled. You have to continue making those choices. A lot of people start doing good and then they get wrapped back up in their things again. Am I telling the truth? Would you agree with that, Chris?
You always tell the truth.
Was there sarcasm in that?
Very much.
Okay, I take the hint, Chris. Go ahead, Willie.
This may spark defensive anger as God touches our deeper hurts. It is all right to let the anger out, but it is also important to let God take care of the real problem.
Yes. So the question is, what is your real problem?
My real problem?
You don't have to answer that. That's a general question, but you're welcome to if you want to.
We ain't got enough time.
Okay.
We do not have enough time for me to even start on mine.
Well, I want to, that exercise I was talking about, I'd like to go ahead and do it right now. It won't take very long, but we're talking about step 6. And can you read step 6 again?
We were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character.
And so, have everybody put their hand out like this, straight out beside them or in front of them. I don't care, but not resting on anything. Not resting on your elbow. Yeah, just like that. And like it. If you can put it straight, then you put it straight because it's heavier that way. And the longer we go, the heavier it gets. Have you noticed that? And we hope we're out that, and these defects of character, these problems, these unhealed wounds, okay, these deep wounds, they start they start getting heavier and heavier. Would you agree with that? And what we need to do is we need to allow him to take them. And if I walked over to your hand and I reached into your hand where your heavy stuff and pulled it out, like Lori, if I pulled it out of your hand right now, would you let me have it? Okay. Now, just relax. How does that feel?
Yeah. The heavier.
It's getting. If I take yours, I take it away from you. I'm doing the women first in case you didn't know. and then you relax. I got it. And it's just like it's even though I'm saying I got it, God is taking it from you and we're letting it go. And then if I take yours, Chris, I want you to feel that it's lifting off of you, that you let it go. Can you do that?
Oh, yeah.
Let it go. And then relax. John, can you do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Robert, can you do that?
Yeah.
How's that feel?
It's good.
Okay. Now, oh,
Will.
I forgot some.
The
Willie, lift that out. That burden, if we let God lift that off of there, and we have to be willing to let it go, and then you rest. How does that feel?
Nice. Feels real good.
And that's what step 6 is talking about here. That's what this we're talking about here in removing these deeper hurts. Just that he is lifting them off of you. And if you can and remember this, take this, associate this to God removing those deep hurts, those defects of character, and allow his healing to be there. Just what you felt right there can be a catalyst to help you to eliminate all those other things. What do you think?
It's good.
Okay. All right, Willie. What's your takeaway? We'll just go to this last one.
Keep on letting God work in me to let him get to the root of the problem, which is the heart, where he needs to be.
All right, good deal. Thank you.
Will.
Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy's watching here, so I thought I'd say hi to Jeremy and Cheryl, Lori, Linda. What I see on here right now. So, and Lori.
What deeper problems? I haven't started yet. Why are you laughing at me? What deeper problems did my addiction shelter, hide, and cover up from my awareness? Some of the suggestions are pride,
Egocentrism.
what he said, fear, anger, hatred, the arrogance of believing that life should go the way I want. I'm going to pick that one as being most relevant. The arrogance of believing that life should go the way I want, and it's not fairness of life.
Because life is supposed to be fair.
Not totally, but it was particularly unfair to me for quite a long time, and I didn't like it, and I was pretty bitter about it.
And how'd that work out for you?
Not real well.
Okay. And that's kind of the point of
That's kind of the point. It really didn't work out well at all. It left me in quite a mental mess.
There's a sign on the front of that. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And that's called reality,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
And when we fight reality, even though we don't have to like reality, but if we fight it, it gets worse and worse.
Yes, and I fought it, and it got worse and worse, and yeah.
All right. Two.
What difficulties have I suffered due to lack of forgiveness or compassion for others? I've always been very compassionate and forgiving person and quick to come to forgiveness.
Except yourself.
Yes, except for myself. Thank you for pointing that out.
Because I'm the same way.
Yeah. Thank you. But the one answer, inner torture. Inner torture. Does that, if you're the same way, does that make sense? Inner torture, the inner turmoil.
Which is another way of terming self-punishment.
Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. Yeah.
And the reason why a person would torture or punish themselves, that's a question.
Repeat it.
So what's the reason why a person would torture or punish themselves?
Don't like themselves.
Don't like themselves. Don't like what they've done. Don't like what they've become. Don't like what they see.
Okay. And so then they are why then is they're torturing themselves because they don't like themselves. For what purpose? What's the purpose of the torture?
Here, Doug. I'm at a loss.
They're not in recovery.
Well, expound on that, Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
I don't know how to expand that. You guys doing it.
They're not seeing.
You can expand on it, I'd appreciate it.
Guide me in the direction I need to be
Well,
going.
let's back up and make sure we got the question here, and that is, what is the purpose of us torturing ourselves because we don't like ourselves, so we're torturing ourselves, and the purpose is to try to make us do better or be better, right? That's the purpose.
Yeah.
And Chris' statement, and I was interested in hearing where he'd go with it about they weren't in recovery. That means they weren't interested in. They weren't. Now this may sound weird, but this is my read on it. They are not really interested in getting better, but they feel satisfied by torturing themselves.
Or they just haven't found it yet.
Haven't found it yet.
Recovery.
Well, and how would that expound on that, Chris?
Maybe so, and then going with somebody to a recovery meeting. Finding
Yes.
any which way.
And why would and so I got a sense of where that you may be heading, whether you realize it or not, but what would be going on there? How would, now see, because we are talking, one of our things we talked about tonight was not being able to see our own character defects or our problems or even our wounds, right? That's what we're talking about.
Mhm.
Now, Chris
Yes.
says maybe they're not ready yet, or maybe they need to be brought to a meeting, right? Is that what you
Or
said,
they
Chris?
just, God just sends them on that trip. And they don't even know it, and they just figure it out.
Yes, because they haven't seen it, but what you're talking about is a little bit different than what Lori was talking about was this perfectionistic self-punishment behavior to try to make ourselves better so that we'll become perfect or acceptable or at least not rejected. That's all
Yeah,
the statement.
yeah, that
But
sums
what-
it up.
It's about perfection.
Yeah. And what you're talking about there was what we were talking about earlier about, not seeing, because Robert said earlier it was because we didn't want to see. We wanted to stay in our addiction because he didn't say the because part, but I'll let you if you want me to say it. If you want to say it, but I'll say it if you don't want to say it.
Go ahead.
Are you sure? Because the shelter we were talking about earlier in the lesson, because our addiction was a shelter to those underground burdens or wounds or hurts or pains or fears that we've had, and we were using these shelters or coping mechanisms or behaviors or addictions to try to help us manage the pain. And we haven't seen maybe the bottom, what the bottom deal is. That's what Chris is trying to say there. And now either God is giving us, helping us to bringing these problems to us, but I don't agree with that totally 100%. Oftentimes just like, let's go back to what Carl Jung was saying, that if we don't address them, our inner parts that's conflicted cause it to come out into our life. So, in other words, we do it to ourselves. Go ahead.
I think too that sometimes we punish ourselves as kind of a salve to say, well, yeah, what I did was wrong and I shouldn't be doing that, so I'm going to punish myself. That'll be enough to allow me to do it again.
And that's true. That's some of the preliminary steps of this. But then what Lori was talking about there was basically tormenting herself to try to somehow make her perfect or acceptable, or at least not be rejected. And see, and that is it's a false belief.
Yeah.
It's an
So
impossible.
ultimately, she married Willie and fixed it all.
Say it again.
She ultimately married Willie and fixed it all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Still lost in this cloud.
That could be true.
I just needed someone to go down with me.
So he chose me to go down with him.
Maybe. Well, hey, maybe you're like, I say that, I blame my life as it is right now on, I said it's Jesus and my wife Linda, and actually Linda had a hold of me first. So maybe you're a life preserver,
Yeah.
whether he realizes it or not.
Well, Jesus had a hold of me first, so. Question 3. Am I ready to have these defects removed by God? Yes. Yes, I am ready to have God do what he needs to do in my life. Remove defects. Even though I know it's painful, put in the good stuff, take out the bad stuff. Move forward. If you're not moving forward, if you're not learning something, you're moving backwards. And I just want to move forward with God.
Good. And as I say often, all healing is painful.
Oh, yes. all healing is painful.
And then some people say, well, if it's painful, then why do it? Well, because the alternative is worse.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Healing is painful, but it's necessary and it's good. But it's got to be done. And
Well, it don't gotta be, but it's in our best interest.
if you want to get healthy
Now, that is
and
true.
be healthy
That is true.
and live the life God wants us to live, then it is necessary. And so it is necessary.
Well, when people say that, the reason why I say what I say
and
is
I understand that and
is
I
because-
appreciate that.
because when people say that you have to, it's like you don't have any choice in the matter, but you have a choice,
Yeah.
and God protects that right to that choice. And most people, if they really believe they don't have a choice, they're going to be forced into, let's say, forced into recovery.
Yeah.
Then they resist it, they fight it,
Yeah.
unconsciously.
Yeah.
Because that's the way we humans are.
Yeah.
So that's why
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But for me, in my life, in my opinion, the path I have chosen is going to come with some pains.
Yeah.
And
because,
I'm okay with that
because you
my
decided
previous,
it's in your best interest.
Yes, because my previous life had lots of pains. And the pain of growing and getting better and healing my hurts is a whole lot less and a whole lot more rewarding than the pains of the old unhealthy Lori. So the pains of a healthy Lori are much better.
Good deal.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
what did you learn out of this lesson tonight?
Keep going, even though you encounter those with the ugly, mean attitude of wanting to argue and fight and not.
Are you describing somebody you know?
Lots of people I know, no one in particular, no one in this room.
Okay, I just
Uh,
wondered how you
you-
seem to be very descriptive there. So.
We argue for the fun of it.
we do. But there are those out there, and you can't let them get in your way. You gotta just keep going because it's worth it.
Good.
It's worth it. So,
And your takeaway?
still moving up, still moving on. One day, 1 week at a time.
Did I leave the schedule up there?
Yes.
And what's next week?
Uh,
Who's doing what
June
next week?
27th, Attitudes and Actions, Philippians 3 is Robert is doing the step, Will is doing the questions.
Okay. All right. Would you hand that to me, please?
And I'm not up.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Willie.
Circulation through it.
Do what, Chris?
The circulation.
All right, any comments or questions from anybody? John said he's not gonna be here next week, and so, all right.
And no, nothing on the 4th.
Yeah, and we'll be shut down on the 4th. No meeting on the 4th because it's 4th of July. And so, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may his face shine upon you and give you his peace.